first time since the 1980s, parental consent will be heard again in the Florida committee meeting. Why is this a big deal? Why is this a problem? What even is parental consent? Parental consent is exactly what it sounds like. It would require anyone under the age of 18 to obtain consent from their parent before receiving abortion services. Now, some states already require parental involvement in some form. No, I'm sorry. Did I say some states? I meant most states require parental involvement in some form, as in 37 states require your parents to either be notified or give you consent about whether or not you can have an abortion if you're under the age of 18. It doesn't sound like that big of a deal, and ideally you would want to be able to tell your parents about such an intense decision, but these laws don't really affect minors who are living in stable households. In fact, 90% of 14-year-olds and 74% of 15-year-olds surveyed said that they were already going to tell at least one of their parents about having an abortion. The ones who said they weren't didn't because they feared violence or even being kicked out of their home. Most states who have implemented parental consent laws don't acknowledge the obvious risk many teens may face in sharing that information with their parents. And when I say they don't acknowledge it, I mean it in the most severe and intense way you can not acknowledge something. Like 21 of those states will still require parental involvement even if the teen in question is a victim of incest. So you can probably guess who these laws are affecting the most. Young people of color, who are not only statistically more likely to experience unintended pregnancy as minors, but are also disproportionately living in states that have enacted these laws. So, that is reason number one why these laws suck. Reason number two is actually a lot more sinister. It comes down to our privacy and our rights to it. Section 23 of Florida's Constitution has protected Floridians from government intrusion in their private lives since 1980. And the far right has been trying to with it ever since. Parental consent weakens the privacy clauses in Section 23. It could even effectively exempt abortion from those medical privacy clauses. Ultimately, it is the first step in a much larger plan to overturn Roe v. Wade. In 1989, the right couldn't make it happen, but now, with a way more conservative-leaning Supreme Court, they really might be able to. With the reproductive health attacks in our neighboring states, Florida may be the last place in the entire Southeast abortion is still accessible, and we need to protect it. I implore you, before December 10th, to call your Florida senator and ask them to vote no on SB 404. That's all we can do now.